Hello everyone, Brian. Today I'm going to be reacting to Advice on Eating Meat and Animal Liberation with subtitles with Tsem. So I'm kind of curious as to what his, or at least, yeah, what his point of view on eating animals or eating meat, eating animals. Anyways, let's go get started.
Some of the land deities are more stronger than the bird deities. Some of the bird deities are stronger than land deities. It depends on the area. Some areas, land deity is very calm, quiet. Some is very wrathful and fierce. Some is very jealous. Some is very kind, like people. To show respect to the land deity is good. To make offerings to them is good, but we don't actually take refuge to them or rely upon them. So therefore, what is important is once in a while we make an offering to the land deity where we come from and the area that we live. It's like making, if your neighbor has a wrathful dog, give some food to the dog doesn't bark at you or bite you. That kind of making friendship. Why do we not rely on the land deities? We don't rely upon them because they also have died. They were humans and they had to take rebirth. And they will again die, take rebirth again. So they're just like us, they're stuck in the world. The only thing is they have clairvoyance because they don't have a physical body, they have a subtle one. The body can travel very fast to see what's going on. So it's like clairvoyance. Example, some of us, when we sleep, we can leave our bodies to travel. During that time, we can travel quite fast, right? At the speed of thought. So there's a land deity in this area. Peaceful, quiet. I think male. So therefore, when we come here and we take care of his area, he's very happy. So he showed his sign. He showed his sign by making a light rain or some rainbows or sometimes a light breeze when there's no wind. They will show that kind of sign. Also, these land deities, they like people who have developed compassion. So if there's someone who comes that has developed real compassion or practicing real compassion, they also show signs. They're very, very happy. They like things like that because this kind of feeling soothes their mind. I am particularly very fond of all types of animals. I don't like them to be hurt or abused or slaughtered or eaten. I don't. And I feel that when we hurt animals, it's a sign of our cowardice because we have more power over them. So it's our cowardice and our lack of courage that we take abuse of animals. And maybe in the past, a couple of hundred years ago, the food, nutrients, and resources, all that was very limited. But now, in the modern world, especially in our country here, the food resources are very, very plenty. So we can get our nutrients and protein and whatever our body needs from all other sources. We don't need to harm it. The tradition in
Okay, real quick with that one. So I guess my problem with kind of this argument about, oh, back in the day it was perfectly okay because food was scarce. But now, since food is not scarce, well, technically in some areas it still is. But I'm assuming, obviously, in developed areas or areas where there's plentiful food, not okay, and areas where it's scarce, then it's okay. And then you have this mindset, okay, well, you live in an area where there's plentiful food, but what happens if you get into a survival situation where you literally have no food and you're starving to death, and there is, say, an animal close by? Would it be okay then? It's like, well, yes, it's okay then because you're starving to death, so you need it to survive. So it's like it's this kind of, it's like not good, but there's a lot of exceptions, kind of deal, as opposed to I guess being very, it is wrong completely, no matter what the situation is, to eat animals. Even if you're starving to death, it is wrong to eat an animal. Because it's not the animal's fault that you're starving to death. So why punish the animal for your mistake? And to say that it was okay in the past, again, is that inconsistency. It's like it's either wrong or it's right. It's not, well, it's right now. I mean, it's right in this situation, but wrong in this situation. It's the reason why I don't like this kind of rules or this kind of speech per se is because it's rules for thee and not for me kind of rules. Now, I understand exceptions though, but I would rather have not very many exceptions because you end up getting things like rules for thee and not for me, meaning that sometimes you'll have like the elite classes saying that, yes, you people will be eating only these three foods But us, it's everything. We can eat whatever we want, but you guys, you peasants, will be eating just these three foods. So, in terms of I guess rules, it's either all okay or it's not for the most part. Can this have an exceptions? I don't know. I don't think so because almost how do I say this? I was gonna say almost everywhere there's food, there's plants to eat, but not really. I mean, you look at the desert, it's mostly animals. There are some cactuses or cacti, I don't know. You look at people who live like in the snowy regions where it's just whale blubber and seal and fish, I think. Definitely no plants grow up there. So, but the thing is, though, is that it's in a lot of senses their choice to live up there now. They can always, like you say, right now we have plenty of food, so we can choose not to eat animal foods. Like, well, people who live in snowy region can choose to live in an area where, there's food, there's vegetables. So there's a lot of, but they choose to live up there where the only thing they can eat is like, well, I don't know exactly their meals, but clearly, they can't grow crops up there. It's snow 24/7, I believe. Even if it's not snowed, I think the ground is very harsh for any kind of vegetables or crops to grow. So, uh, but again, I don't like that idea where you say it's susceptible here and not there. I have my reasoning for that, but I won't say it here. I've said it in some past videos, especially when I talk about this.
Chinese in China praying and dedicating themselves to Guan Yin and never harming an animal or taking flesh or bringing flesh into the temple is one of the best traditions ever. If we believe in Shakyamuni, Amitabha, Guan Yin, Manjushri, their nature is the same, not to harm others. Therefore, the first fundamental step to developing civic or compassion, first fundamental step is outward. Outwardly means to take vows. When we take vows, we restrict our body, speech, and mind from doing actions that will be contrary to becoming close with them by nature and by physically close. Nature means to develop their characters, and physically close means to have vision to receive it. In Buddhism, when we say get close to a God or get close to a Buddha, there's two ways of looking at it. One is physically close, where they're guiding you and they're always around you. The real close is to become their nature. That's the ultimate closeness that we wish to gather together with enlightened beings, such as Anino Mayushya. So therefore, one of the vows we take is not eating meat. People say, but Shakyamuni ate meat. So if Shakyamuni eats meat, it means we can't eat meat. But Shakyamuni did a lot of things that we can copy, but it won't have the same result. Example, if a great cook is in a restaurant with a knife cutting very fast, I can't go in there and copy him. I might cut my fingers off. It may look like it, but it's not the same. Because Shakyamuni, Manjushri, Guan Yin is enlightened, any action that's associated with them would benefit that sentient being, even eating their flesh. Because Buddha is not eating from desire or attachment. Buddha is eating because someone offered out of great compassion. It benefits the offerer and the flesh. So therefore, if we purposely go kill and offer Buddha, of course that's not advisable. But if it's already dead and that's from their heart, they offer, the karma that they kill to offer the Buddha is there. But there's also good karma from offering to the Buddha. So it will benefit the animal and the being. But that's not to say we should go and kill to offer to the Buddha. For example, before we eat flesh, there's a mantra we recite. There's a mantra we recite. For example, we can recite Medicine Buddha's mantra. Om Bekansi Bekansi Ma Bekansi Bekansi Raza Samakati Soha. Chinese or Kuan Yin's mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, and blow it on the flesh, and it will help the animal to take a good rebirth. So if blowing the mantra of a Buddha on an animal's flesh would benefit the animal, definitely if the flesh is eaten by the Buddha, it will be tremendous benefit. So if we recite Om Mani Padme Hum before on the flesh before eating, and it benefits the flesh, that means the power of the mantra is by the power of the being the mantra represents, which is Kuan Yin.
Real quick with that one though, Again, I don't know too much about Tibetan Buddhism. I believe it's Tibetan Buddhism, but I do have a vague memory of how it kind of works, at least from what I believe Swami Sarvapriyananda has stated, is that the what is it? The thing that leaves your body and goes to the next body is forever in motion in the sense that once your body's destroyed, it moves on and goes finds the next body. So by eating the flesh of an animal, like it's kind of like I guess it's how does it transfer that whatever that benefits to the new body once it's already gone? Does it sit on the dead body until a new body arrives and then moves on to it? Um, then if it let's say it does sit, then okay. Let's say that then the corpse itself it just sits there for a while, then a new body comes and the whatever it is that transfers from one body to the next, I forget what it's called. Say it does transfer, and then the the body is eaten from an enlightened being. Will all of a sudden that just transfers to the new body? How does it know? It's a whole bunch of weird questions, of course, and I'm trying to understand it, and that's the reason why I ask. I don't know. It's just really kind of strange. I like if it's still on the body and then you eat the flesh from the body. Okay, I get it. It's there. There's no confusing it. But once it leaves the body, that's like, is there a trail or something like a paper trail that the benefit follows? Um, and I don't know if Tibetan Buddhism believes in the one nothing. I think, and what I mean by this is that I do remember. I think again, Swami Sarvapriyananda is saying, I believe, is that the ultimate belief of Tibetan Buddhism is like nothingness or nothing. I believe. Again, I don't believe I've heard Tsem say anything about that, so I'm not too sure. Again, this my understanding is very much flawed, or understanding and remembrance may be very much flawed. So correct me if I'm wrong. I believe, in terms of Advaita Vedanta, it's Brahman, the one consciousness, and I think in Buddhism or in Tibet Buddhism, it's nothingness. And in a lot of respects, they're very similar in essentially everything. It's just one is everything and one is nothing. Anyways,
Therefore, Kuan Yin eats the flesh, he definitely benefits the flesh. Now, if we are the same, then we have to say Om Tsem Shi Hong Pe, blow. Om Cook Hong Pe, what's his name, KB Hong Pe, and blow, it should benefit animals. Since we blow our own mantra, it doesn't benefit. If we eat, also don't benefit. By the same logic. For example, his name is Ao. Om Ao Hong Pe, you blow, no effect. Because he's not a Buddha. So if we recite Om Ao Hong Pe, there's no benefit for the animal. So therefore, if Ao eats the meat, also no benefit for the meat. So if we say Om grass Hong Pe, Om tree Hong Pe, and bless the meat, no blessing, because the tree and grass have no blessing. But if we say Om Mani Padme Hum, or we offer to Kuan Yin, the benefit is for the animal. Therefore, by that kind of logic, we can see if we eat the meat, it helps the meat or not. In the sutras, it mentions that animals don't have the capacity. Most animals, there are some exceptions, such as nagas. Most animals don't have the capacity to listen and understand the Dharma. But by the power of the Dharma, it's condensed. The power of the Dharma, or the words of Dharma, is condensed into sound. That sound is mantra. When you recite and the animal hear it, when you recite and blow on the animal, directly or indirectly, it plants the seed of the Dharma to go inside their mind stream to their body. So the Buddha's speech arises from his enlightenment, his attainments. Then the attainments arise in the form of sound. That sound becomes word, the word becomes meaning, the meaning is called Dharma. Why do we call that Dharma? Because Dharma is transformation, but the transformation starts from hearing the attainments in the form of sound. That's right. That's why mantras and chakras have a lot of power. So different mantras represent different forms of enlightenment or different forms of the enlightened mind. Hence, The different types of enlightenment comes in different form of mantras. The mantras have a lot of power. So if the mantra is invoking on one of the Buddhas, if it's recited with great compassion, a concern for others, then the mantra becomes very powerful, that it moves Dharma protectors' hearts, it moves the land gods' hearts, and it moves people's hearts. So therefore, if we're in an area where there's land god, we recite the mantra with great concern for animals, for people, for the environment. The land god will feel very pleased because they hear the sound of something holy, a Buddha's mantra, and it's motivated by compassion. So that's very rare for them to hear and feel. Last time when I traveled Malaysia for the first time to many cities and Dharma centers all over, when I arrived, there would be many rainbows last time. I'm not saying I have compassion, but I'm saying that I wish to teach the Dharma from a good motivation. Perhaps that makes the land gods feel happy. Because I'm not teaching for money or fame or to win something. It's teaching sincerely, hoping the other person's mind will change. So I just told these three ladies that I want to do this once a month. I want to do more than once a month, but I want to officially do once a month and make it a animal savings, animal liberation day. We do prayers. We arrange the lorries to come. We bring here. We let them go. We feed them. I want to do that every month, once a month, and encourage people to see and also bring their kids. I want to make it a cage event. And then weekly, she's already arranging for kids and cage members to come feed the turtles and feed the fish. I love liberating animals. I love when people take care of animals. I love when people are kind to animals. People who are kind and nice to animals are kind because animals can all say thank you. So if we do that, it's sincere from our heart. In Buddhism, to do things with a motivation of no recognition is getting closer to the Buddha. So for animals we liberated, when other high lamas, high teachers of all the lineages have long life, health, and excellence, may their teachings grow, may their entourage and sponsors grow. Where there's no Dharma, will we bring the Dharma? Where there's Dharma, may we make it stronger. Where there's misunderstanding of Dharma, may we take on the responsibility to clear it. Especially may countless animals who suffer daily or tortured, beaten, killed, eaten, and slaughtered, and butchered daily, may they gain liberation, and may we be the causes of them to gain liberation and gain freedom. May we have a wonderful animal shelter in the future that will inspire thousands and thousands of animal shelter in the future to manifest, for people to take care of animals, love animals, and may vegetarianism grow to extreme heights and become mainstream and accepted.
Well, a little counter there. So vegetarian, I think fish is kind of acceptable in vegetarian diets. But let's just say it's not, right? It's just vegetables. But again, at the same time, veganism is going to be significantly better than vegetarianism because vegetarianism permits animals to be used to assist with growing the crops. Now you could make the argument that, okay, well, these people who have these animals that help them grow the crops, they take good care of the animals. Well, you don't know that for sure. Some of them beat their horses or cows to plow the land, or oxen. Some, I don't know, just, they entice or, feed chickens to keep popping eggs out. Again, they could keep pigs in cages, or maybe even cows and goats. So, um, don't really, unless you're there at the farm and you observe what they do, then that's a different story. But still, if any animal is used in the process of making something that you eat or wear, then you're participating in a lot of sense animal cruelty according to veganism. But at the same time, what he's teaching here is the fact that you don't want to be cruel to animals, want to be kind and nice. So, in a lot of sense, that is kind of veganism because you do not want to participate in anything that an animal was, in a lot of sense, was used to create or make the product that you're using. Um, so, I guess to go one step further from vegetarianism is to go veganism. At the same time, I've seen what about people who there are people out there who became vegan and but their health was suffering like really bad. And all of a sudden, whenever they ate meat, they felt so much better. Like they just got a whole new life. Like they were just reborn again. I'm kind of curious as to what he would say about that. I've seen some videos now. Could they be lying? Sure. Um, but I wouldn't doubt that there are at least some of them that are telling the truth. And I wouldn't doubt there are some people out there who feel so much better being vegetarian or vegan either. But it's just more along the lines of, okay, what if someone genuinely tried to be vegetarian or vegan and they just could not find a supplement to whatever they're lacking, and they're genuinely have health issues because of it. And then would it be okay then to eat animal meat, animal flesh, but they're not enlightened? You know, again, and it's kind of he was talking about how enlightened beings can eat the flesh, and help push, I guess, the whatever was in the animal, I guess you could say the spirit, or whatever it may be, to be elevated because the flesh was eaten by an enlightened being. This kind of, again, this is kind of teetering on the rules for thee and not for me kind of thing, where if someone's considered to be enlightened, then all of a sudden they can eat the meat, but the peasants can't. I'm not saying like enlightened beings will be doing this kind of stuff, but there are people out there who will claim to be enlightened. And there's a lot of fake people out there who and then when you start making this political, obviously, it's not meant to be politicized, but man, we are human beings. We'll turn anything into anything. So, but if it becomes political, then you'll have all these rich people who claim to be enlightened and eating all this meat while everyone else is eating grass. So, and this is kind of the reason why I don't want to, I choose not to believe that there's a hierarchy of what you can and cannot eat per se. Obviously, follow the science, which so far no one's disagreed upon that. Even Advaita Vedantas, and I'm sure some here in Tibetan Buddhism would be okay with the science. But at the same time, I put anything that we eat on the same level. So animals and plants are one and the same, in my opinion, because they're both, well, they're living organisms. Just because animals look different from plants doesn't mean that it's more okay to eat plants. It's still living. It's still alive. It still breathes. It's just that it doesn't look like an animal. And I made this argument in the past, and some people, well, they never really made a counter argument per se. Maybe they have it, I just didn't see it. But it was again in older videos that I reacted to. They made a point, and the thing is, that I made a counterpoint where they start seeing it's like this is okay and this is not. And it's like, well, plants are, well, why is one okay and one's not? It's like, well, one is flesh. It's like, well, plants have flesh too. If you cut off enough of their skin, they can die. They'll bleed out in some sense. It may not be red blood. It's going to be their plant, which is their blood, which is can't remember what it's called. But anyways, I can make the argument that eating plants is bad too because it's living. It does. Does it have emotion? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, does it need to have emotion for it to feel pain? No. Well, maybe. I don't know. Well, I don't think so. I don't think it needs emotion. You just need pain receptors, and all of this is just saying that's a bad thing. So you can see plants will try to reach out for good things, and if you just, well, not disturb, but kind of harass like a certain stem or something, it will die. So clearly, there is ways to kill it or kill segments of it, and ways to permit it to grow, and just grow. Anyways, this is something I definitely want to do a little bit of a deeper dive in, like a members only video. Again, nothing to do with reactions, but just making the argument and hopefully getting people to understand a certain thing. But anyways, this is my reaction to advice on eating meat and animal liberation. So I'm curious of what you guys thoughts on this. Are you purely vegetarian, as in do you eat fish, or are you the vegetarian that eats only, say, I guess, vegetables? And what are your thoughts on saying stepping up your game to being a vegan? I think, in my opinion, veganism or vegan is a political statement more than anything else, because my belief is the fact that, if there's a cow or an oxen and you provide it shelter, food, water, and protection, it can earn its keep. You don't obviously you whip it just to tell it to go somewhere. You don't whip it to like freaking relieve bruises and scars and stuff. It's kind of just like a go forward kind of deal. It's like someone tapping in your shoulder, say, "Okay, move, move." I guess some of them may need to. Some of them are stubborn and may need to be a hard kick, but So me saying using an animal to till the land, it's perfectly fine, because generally speaking, farmers tend to take care of their animals just because it is their livelihood. And there are some farmers out there who will abuse their animals too. So, but do I know which one those are? No, you have to kind of observe the farm. Way too much topic going on. Anyways, that's my reaction to this video. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next vid.